Salut toată lumea, bun venit la The Stanley Parable. Asta e un joc care se bazează pe alegerile mele. Deci pot face orice, dar de fapt nimic. Cam așa. Asta e vorba jocului. Și să începem. Se încarcă mai repede decât data trecută.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-winning, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
A fost?
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ok. Pot da click pe chestii? Da, nu i-am...
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What
So
if he
jump
had to
over-
make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would
Eu voiam să vă
arrive.
arăt jocul, nu?
Soon, very
Da,
soon
ce-am
now,
făcut?
this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Stai ce? Ok. Uite.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ce scrie aici? Nu pot. I like work. I just hate my boss. Often. I hate Mondays. Adică lunea. Să mă rog, lunile. Adică nu lunile. Mă rog. Luni adică din săptămână. V-ați prins voi. Bup. 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 Ce scrie? Nu. Click. Click, click.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Pe bune. N-am făcut nicio diferență. Eu am închis-o? S-a schimbat ceva? Nu? Deci știu sigur că alea nu erau închise.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Și dacă nu fac ce spune el? Nah.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room,
Exact.
and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Dar n-am suc la mine. Suc? Am merge.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Nu, uite ce de găzi. Ce asta? Ce de găzi
At
camera
this
asta?
point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Ce? Am
Stanley
benzin?
sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Ne. Confused not. Tatăl numărul 1. We're farted. Numărul 1. Hai, să pe masă. Ce scrie acolo? Rog. Hai, save.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took
Exact.
the first open door on his left to get back to business.
De ce?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Să ce?
Look,
Nu.
Stan. Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform or test your luck by jumping to the floor below. You know what? Looking at it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make it.
Să săr mai pe cutii mai bine. Ui!
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
Nu se poate. Da, da, sigur.
All of his co-workers were
Da-da.
gone. What could it mean?
Click.
Stanley
Click,
decided to
click.
go to the meeting room.
Da-da.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Dar ce chestia asta? Dacă le fac pe toate 5, cui pasă? E doar un joc de... Hai mă! I hate Monday,
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this
Da-da-da.
was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Înțeles.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
The red door. Înțeles.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Ne.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I'd written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill in trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Mai frumos decât acolo.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Oh, what?
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective?
Da, și are dreptate. Dacă joci 4 ore... Oh.